just
we
back to
set
that.
the bar so high. Year after year after year, we had the best performance in the business, probably for a decade. And I'm not sure another studio will ever achieve some of the numbers that we achieved with multiple. I mean, we got to the point where if a film didn't do $1 billion in global box office, we were disappointed. That's
Oh, so let me ask you, what are they feeling now that they're losing 200 to 300 million a movie? If they were disappointed at $1 billion, come on. Well, at least we know.
Well, the bigger thing is that's an admission, George. That's the other thing right there.
That's
right,
just it.
Is it an admission, though? I didn't mean to cut you off, Ian. Apologies. No, but is that an admission or is it just a bold-faced lie? Because, again, compare that to the report. What is that? What are they telling current and future shareholders? It's a complete lie.
What it's an admission of, George, is what we've been saying for all this time, and that is you can't spend this kind of money and not make at least $1 billion at the box office and it'd be profitable. Right. And they've been trying to play games for years on, oh, no, this and that were profitable. They were profitable.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, look at God. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that's just it. They got to the point where their goal for every film coming out was $1 billion at the box office. Now we're talking up to and including 2019. But it's his next statement, and let me play this first, George, because this may offer some clarity to what you're asking, because what he's about to say is what's really important. And I want everybody to listen carefully.
That's an unbelievably high standard. And I think we have to get...
Let me back it up just a bit so everybody
will ever achieve some of the numbers that we achieved with multiple. I mean, we got to the point where if a film didn't do $1 billion in global box office, we were disappointed. That's an unbelievably high standard. And I think we have to get more realistic. A couple of the films you mentioned, by the way, which is interesting about kind of the New World Order, did okay at the box office.
Listen.
Elemental's a good example, about $500 million at the box office. But
about $500 million for Elemental. It legged out better than expected, but we all know the real story. Listen to what he's about to say.
By the way, to some studios, that would be a gigantic hit. When Disney has a $500 million film, it's a failure.
Oh boy, here's a valiant renegade comment. Guess okay. There's a reason, Bob, and you know damn well what that reason is. The reason why, if we look at $500 million for, say, The Hunger Games. If The Hunger Games pulls off $500 million, it's a huge win financially. Massive win. Had a $100 million budget, Lionsgate film. They've already got post-theatrical licensing rights out there for that puppy that they're probably going to pull another $50 to $100 million on from somebody. Because, you know, Lionsgate and Starz, they separated from they used to be connected. But that being said, that's okay. That's a $100 million budgeted picture. The Marvels was 300. Wish was 200, and we're hearing maybe as high as 250, according to our friends at Film Threat. So that's the difference. So a $500 million haul is great if you have a budget that's commensurate with such a retail sale. But when all of your movies, when you're spending $500 million to make and market a movie, pulling in $500 million at the box office is a wipeout. Bob Iger knows this. He damn well knows this. But again, this is the kind of deflection. Why is everybody poo-pooing on us? You know, why is Hugh Johnston accidentally, Disney's new CFO, accidentally following Jonas Campbell on Twitter? We know they're watching. We know Bob Iger's talking about right now, what people are saying about this being a hit. You know, this being a hit. Oh, we do this and it's a problem, but everybody else does this. I know you've seen some of these. We know who you're talking about. And it's not just me. There's a lot of folks, a lot of great people out there on YouTube. But I mean, this is what's coming down the pike, is because more of this has been getting pushed out into the media now, thanks to places like Forbes magazine pulling up these financial returns and whatnot. And it's starting to rattle him. And he's trying to make excuses now with this. But he knows damn well why this is different. He knows damn well.
Kind of the New World Order did okay at the box office. Elemental's a good example, about $500 million at the box office. By the way, to some studios, that would be a gigantic hit. When Disney has a $500 million film, it's a failure, which is interesting. But then it went on.
It's not really
on Disney Plus and had massive consumption. Right. So that says something.
It went on Disney Plus and had massive consumption. Okay, I guess it went to Disney Plus and what, they got tuberculosis? What the hell does that mean? Look, the problem is Disney Plus, and Bob also knows this. What do all these things make on Disney Plus? Zero.
Right.
Nothing.
Zero.
Disney Plus is $15 billion in the hole. You know what happens when Puss in Boots makes $500 million at the box office, which it did last Christmas, by the way. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Fantastic movie. That thing legged out like crazy. I've never seen anything like that for an animated feature film. But it finished up around $500 million. Same as Elemental. It cost half or less of what Elemental cost to make that film. And then, guess what? Because it's a Universal picture that was made by, I think it was DreamWorks, right? DreamWorks does Puss in Boots. Yeah, because DreamWorks does Shrek. It then was part of that multi-year billion-plus-dollar contract with Netflix. So Netflix paid for it all over again. Disney's not doing that.
So how do you think he feels after you had Godzilla -1, which Toho Studios put out and spent $15 million, and in the U.S. it made $11 million over the weekend, and globally it made $35 million?
Yeah, and meanwhile you could put Wish and the Marvels together, and it didn't make that.
Right.
I mean,
that's humiliation. To me, it's Japan declaring war on Hollywood and winning. I mean, they're embarrassing them in their own backyard.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe people didn't perceive it was the kind of film they needed to see in the theaters, but they certainly, when they discovered it on
Talking about Elemental again now.
Disney Plus, enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
on that quick pause, I gotta cut out. I got a family thing that's come up that I gotta handle, so I'm out. Sorry for the short notice, but
That's all right, Mike.
I gotta handle something. Thanks.
We're good. But George, I mean, the bulk of this has been, the issue of Bob Iger just kind of dancing around a lot of things. And I can go back and play some of the other clips, and I know you might have missed this. I don't know. Have you seen any of this interview this week, George?
Yeah, I used it in my new video.
Okay. I figured you probably had. But, I mean, he went through quite a bit here. And we talked about the whole Marvel issue and whatnot. And basically before you got here, like when you came in, we were talking about how different it is when you listen to the language of I did this and I did that and I accomplished this and I built this company up and this is the Bob Iger company. And
blaming Chapek for everything. I know it was amazing.
His fault.
Is how Chapek was barely there. It's like blink and you'll miss him, but supposedly it's all on him. Every failure's on him. I'm like,
well, but the other side of it too, George, and I think we were talking about this before you got here, was, and I want to get your thoughts on this. One of the striking issues with his remarks were not only was it just partially, Chapek's fault, but if it wasn't Chapek's fault, then it was secular headwinds. It was market forces.
Right.
He took credit for everything positive Disney ever did or was at the Bob Iger Company. And everything that has gone wrong, he changes who it's always the market changed, the audience changed. My predecessor did this. He didn't take responsibility for one damn failure. He can't even take responsibility. He doesn't want to talk about the $72 billion he pissed away on Fox.
Right.
For starters. I mean, and all the streaming stuff that we're seeing right now, Bob Iger put that into play. Everything we've seen phases 4 and 5, all these movies that have come out, even while Chapek was there. Bob Iger. He didn't want to take credit for any of that. He just wants to tell us how great he was. Here's another guy who's pretty great. He's back with us. Pros.
Hey.
Great to see you. No,
Happy
he's
to
a
be here.
politician.
Happy to be
He's a
here.
politician at this point. No different. He's a politician. Promising everyone the moon while picking their pockets.
I'm worried
Pretty
that's how the largesse of corporate America is sort of acting right now. I don't know if you guys have taken a look lately at the increase in zombie corporations 10 years ago versus today, but it's staggering how many companies out there are just kind of sitting on this bubble. And I worry that it's going to burst at some point, and we're going to find out that merit and competence really matters. Shocking, I know.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.